Hi, I'm Izzi Weiss, founder of Inside Turn Coxing Consultancy, and this is Heidi Long, GB Team Senior Athlete, and she's here to help us today with our week 3 of the Coxing series with Rower's Choice. So Heidi, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I started rowing 12 years ago in the UK, and then I came to Virginia for university, which is where I met Izzi. We spent 4 years rowing on the team there together. I graduated from college in 2019, and I spent the last 3 years rowing back at home, and I'm now a member of the GB rowing team.
Also, congratulations are in order. Heidi last week just won the Senior World Championship in the Straight 4, which is incredible for GB, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's really an exciting race to watch. So the reason we have her here today is because we wanted to talk a little bit about fall coxing from a rower's perspective, and this is an opinion I trust and value a lot. So Heidi's going to tell us a little bit about what she looks for in a fall coxing and what is important and helpful to her. So we're going to start talking about practice. So tell me what you're looking for in a coxing and practice in the fall.
I think one of the most important things for a coxswain in the fall is to be able to run their own practice efficiently. So that's going to be all sorts of things from organisation, making sure that you have tape, tools, spacers, chews and goos in case anyone's running out of energy during a big session. And then we go on to like boat handling skills. So like make sure you know the best way to take the turns and you never start down.
Yeah, Heidi and I spent years face to face in a boat, and let's just say we never started down. Based on her competitive nature or my competitive nature, kind of worked well together.
Yeah, I wouldn't say try and start up on any of your teammates because you are all a team. We're trying to get to like the goal together, but
just definitely start.
Yeah, all start even. I think the next part is, in the fall, you're often on a new team, or you have new team members, or there's been a shift around in the people that you're in boats with. So I think it's really important to get to know the people in your boat as quickly as you can. So that can be writing down their names on a piece of tape so you know who's in which seat in your boat, or like taking the time to like learn all of the people that you're going to be with for that week, and then remembering their names, which is easier said than done, but it makes a huge difference to the athlete if you're getting called out by your name by the coxswain instead of just being a number in a boat. It's much more personal, and I think you can make better changes to what you're doing.
That makes a lot of sense. That's a good one for sure. Okay, so another thing we wanted to kind of touch on then is fall racing.
Yeah.
So when it comes to racing, what do you feel like differentiates a coxswain? What coxswain do you want in your boat when it comes to a fall race? Like, what is that person doing?
I think number one is that you trust your coxswain, and that can be from like making sure they know the organisation of everything, like what time you're supposed to be racing, what time you need to boat, what your bow number is, like all of those sort of basic stuff. If the coxswain has control over all of that, it allows you to not even have to think about it, and you can just focus on your rowing and getting the boat down the course as quick as possible. Once you're in the middle of the race, it can be quite a daunting prospect because there's so much going on and it is a long race and you've got a lot of work to do. So I think having a good knowledge of the information and being able to portray that to your crew is really important. So whether that's like rate, speed, markers, that's one thing that Izzi was really good at, was making sure you always knew where you were in the race and like how to get to the next bit as best as possible. And I think she touched on some of the information in her last blog post.
I just wrote a blog post last week, and it actually touches on a lot of the different information that you should be knowing at all times and giving to your crew, and I feel like that's really helpful in such a long race to know what's going on, and kind of,
I agree.
That is a good one.
And I think if you are able to use the information and then portray how to make it more effective is one of the most important parts. So not only say to your crew, oh, we're 1k in, you've got 4k to go, more along the lines of, okay, we've just completed 1k, we're going to go and try and push it through to the 500 meters by loosening off our shoulders and getting our blades in the water, like making sure that you're very clear with what's happening and then how to make the change that you want to see.
Yeah, I love that. I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely one more thing, and that's going to be like the passion and the hype and getting everyone really excited to be racing. Like, it's the first time that you'll be racing with some of your crewmates. It's like a new season, new year. You want to see what your team can put out there and compare to everyone else for the first time. So if you're able to get your team like hype, passionate, enthusiastic and excited to race, then you're going to be having a good time as well as going quick.
Love that. Coming from two really competitive people, I know steering is something we were always thinking about in the fall.
Yeah.
When your coxswain is steering you down the course, what are the things that you're looking for and expecting out of them, or like wanting?
Yeah. I think you want to have built enough trust in the training before the practices leading into it. So you know that they're going to have a good line and they're not going to be wasting any of your energy by steering the longest course.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think a way to do that is there's often videos online about races that have already happened, so you can watch other coxswains' lines and learn from them. Like study the race course, look at where the markers are, pay attention to everything, and take the time to like think through where you want to steer your crew, and then also think about what you do if the perfect line wasn't available because you're trying to overtake another crew or you're being overtaken. Like, what would you do in that situation? But take the time to talk it through with the other coxswains, share the information between you so you can come up with a plan to get the quickest and the shortest line down the course.
Yeah, I love that, having like a plan A, a plan B, like you never know what's going to happen in a head race, and I feel like we talk about that a lot. There's only so much preparing you can do, right? So you can know the course, you can know what you want to generally be thinking about and saying, but you never know if you're going to be alone or going through a bridge with three boats at the same time. And so being able to make like split-second decisions, I feel like is something that is super important, and having the trust of your crew really makes a difference when it comes to like, when push comes to shove, what are you going to do in that moment? It's like you're 1/9 of the boat, and everyone that's rowing trusts you and believes that whatever choice you're going to make is going to like benefit everyone.
Yeah, and I think in that, like, trust your instincts. Like, I think you're going to have done enough practice by then that you just go with what feels right, because if you spend 2 minutes in the middle of the race consciously trying to think what the best thing to do is, it'll take away from what you're giving to the rowers. So trust your gut and like enjoy it as much as you can without taking on the stress of the whole surroundings.
Totally, I think that's great. Okay, cool. So in terms of, last question for you, any advice for coxswains looking to make an impact on their team this fall? If you,
I think the biggest way you can make an impact on your team is creating like a really strong team culture, and a coxswain can drive that like passionately. I think a way that you can make a really strong impact on your team in the fall is by creating a really strong team vibe and like strong culture. Get to know your rowers, build that relationship between you, make them trust you, you trust them, and that can be on and off the water.
You mentioned building strong team culture. What are some things that you feel like are really important from a coxswain? Because obviously, like, we're not rowing, we're not doing all of the workouts with you. Like, how can we show that we care and that we're involved? Like, what does that look like to you?
I think take the time to talk to each of the individuals and ask them what they want from you. Like, are there certain calls that help them in a race? Are there certain parts of your technique that you want a bit of help with and you want them to look out for it, whether you've made a change or how you can make that change better? Talk to them about your erg pieces, like allow them to be in that conversation with you, like ask them what they want to do in that piece, how you can help them through their 6K, like make it a conversation from the get-go. And then once you're on the water, you don't need to be asking all those questions because you already know what's going on.
Yeah, I love that. I think that was something that we really kind of did back in school, where it was like, okay, I know where Heidi needed to be 3K into her 6K, and I also knew that she needed to relax her shoulders and use her legs, right? And like, that is really helpful that I could be there for her in that way. And she clearly has outdone herself in the last like 11 years, and I don't attribute any of it to me, but it's like it's super important to be there for your teammates and like help them in any way that you can to achieve what they can both on and off the water. And that shows like trust and support. And then when I'm like asking for something in the last 250 meters from her, she'll give it to me because we have years and years of rapport and like a built trust and relationship.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself.
So are there any other things you want to leave us with before we go our separate ways?
I think enjoy the fall. The spring can be a really stressful time because it's the big championship season. And in the fall, you only have a couple of races. So make the most of them, enjoy them, and enjoy the training. Like, it's about the journey and not just the destination.
Love that. Well, I really want to thank you for joining us, Heidi, and I also just want one more shout out. Congratulations to our newest world champion. I feel really honored to be your friend and your past coxswain. So thank you so much for taking the time. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments or head to InsideTurn.com or to Rower's Choice to learn a little bit more about fall coxing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.